Have you ever looked at the time and thought, wait, how do I even tell the time in Espanol? Well, today we're going to fix that so you can confidently tell the time, talk about your schedule, and impress your friends with perfect timing. Welcome to Spanglish Friends, the podcast for true beginner Spanish learners.
Hola amigos, I'm Val, your co-host and experienced Spanish teacher from Venezuela.
And I'm Em, your Australian co-host who's been learning Spanish for 10 years.
Our goal is simple, to get you confident listening and speaking in beginner Spanish with content you'll actually use in real-life conversations.
Join the Spanish Friends community by subscribing wherever you listen to podcasts and following us on social media at Spanglish_Friends. Let's get started.
Comencemos.
Welcome back to Spanglish Friends, your beginner-friendly Spanish podcast.
Today we've hit episode 29, episodio 29. Wow, can you believe it? We are diving into how to tell the time in Spanish today, which is super handy for traveling, describing your daily routine, and much more. By the end of today's episode, Spanglish Friends, you'll be able to ask, what time is it? Say the hours correctly and talk about intervals like quarter past, half past, or quarter to.
And of course, we have 3 questions to guide our learning today, as always, which are pregunta número 1. ¿Cómo pregunto la hora en español? How do I ask someone what time is it in Spanish? Pregunta número 2. ¿Cómo digo la hora exacta en español? Es la una versus son las. How do I say the hours of the day in Spanish? Like it's 1 o'clock, 2 o'clock, 7 a.m., 10 p.m., etc. And pregunta número 3. ¿Cómo digo intervalos del tiempo en español? How do I talk about intervals in time in Spanish like half past, quarter past, and quarter to?
To bring this to life, Em and I are going to have una conversación pequeña, a little conversation in Spanish about our morning and evening routines using reflexive verbs from episode 27 and today's time phrases.
Yes, and as you listen, Spanglish Friends, pick out any words you recognize and try to write at least 3 familiar words down. Don't worry about catching everything we've said yet, okay? The key is to show yourself just how much your listening skills are evolving by catching more and more vocab every time. ¿Lista, mi amiga Val? Es hora.
Lista, amiga. Sí, es hora. Comencemos. Hola, Em. ¿Qué hora es?
Son las 8:30 de la mañana. Val, ¿a qué hora te levantas normalmente?
Normalmente me levanto a las 7 en punto. Luego desayuno a las 7:15.
Qué bien. Yo desayuno a las 7:30 y luego voy al trabajo a 7:15.
¿Y a qué hora terminas de trabajar?
Termino a las 5 en punto. Después voy al gimnasio a las 6:30.
Ah, perfecto. Yo voy al gimnasio a las 6:15 y ceno a las 7:30.
Friends, repeat these words we've just learnt out loud. Cuarto, media, en punto, son las. Let's get started and dive in with everything you need to know to understand these words with question 1. Pregunta número 1. ¿Cómo pregunto la hora en español? How do I ask what the time is in Spanish?
Great. And here, amigos, the most common question you can ask is, ¿qué hora es? ¿Qué hora es? This means, what time is it?
That's right, ¿qué hora es? Or for a more polite, formal way, you can ask, ¿me puede decir la hora? ¿Me puede decir la hora? Which is, can you tell me the time in a formal way?
Exactly. Both are useful. ¿Qué hora es? works with friends, and me puede decir la hora is perfect for formal situations or people you don't know.
Excellent. Moving to pregunta número 2, number 2. ¿Cómo digo la hora exacta en español? How do I talk about the exact hours of the day in Spanish?
Great, amigos. Here to say the exact hour, like for example, o'clock, we say en punto, en punto. So for 1 o'clock, which is singular, you say es la una en punto. It's 1 o'clock. For all other hours, we use plural. You say son las. For example, it's 2 o'clock, son las dos en punto, son las tres en punto. If you want to say it's 3 o'clock. If you want to say it's 4 o'clock, then you say son las cuatro en punto, etc.
This makes sense because 1 o'clock is just a singular hour. Es la una en punto. But if you want to say 2 o'clock, 3 o'clock, 4 o'clock, that's more than 1 hour. It's hours, right? So that's why we use son las for any time after 2 o'clock.
Exactamente. Awesome. Let's recap. So we say es la una en punto for 1 o'clock. And then for all the other hours, we say son las for everything else. Son las dos, son las tres, son las cuatro, etc.
Nice. On to our final question of the day, pregunta número 3. ¿Cómo digo intervalos del tiempo? How do you say intervals of time in Spanish?
Awesome. Amigos, aquí to say minutes past the hour, we use y. For example, 7:10, we would say son las 7:10. Okay, we add y there before the next minute passed. Another example, 7:20, we would say son las 7:20. Son las 7:20.
That's right. And to say quarter past and half past, we use the words we heard earlier, cuarto and media. So for example, 7:15, okay, quarter past 7 would sound like son las 7:15, that joining word that we learnt before, cuarto. Son las 7:15, quarter past 7. To say 7:30, you would say son las 7:30, half past 7. Son las 7:30.
Maravilloso. Now, amigos, to say minutes to the next hour, use 10 para when it's like 10 minutes to be the next hour. For example, 7:50, we would say son 10 para las 8. This means that in 10 minutes, it's going to be 8 o'clock. 7:45, we could say son un cuarto para las 8. This literally means a quarter to 8. Son un cuarto para las 8. 7:45.
Nice. And to distinguish both AM and PM in Spanish, you can add de la mañana, de la tarde, or de la noche. De la mañana means in the morning, de la tarde in the afternoon, or de la noche means in the evening. For example, if I wanted to say it's at 10:20 in the morning, I could say son las 10:20, 20 past 10 de la mañana, in the morning. Son las 10:20 de la mañana.
And something also interesting is that Spanish speakers, we also use AM and PM, especially in schedules. But it's just that we translate AM and PM to the Spanish alphabet. For example, son las 8 a.m. It's 8 a.m. Son las 8 p.m. It's 8 p.m.
Nice. So now, friends, you can start combining these intervals to describe your daily routines. For example, I could say, me levanto a las 7. I get up at 7. I could say, desayuno a las 7:15. I have breakfast at 7:15. Or I could say, voy al gimnasio a 10 para las 7. I go to the gym at, can you think of what time that is? 10 para las 7? It's 6:50. 5 minutes to 7.
Great. Awesome. We have answered our 3 questions of today's episode. Now let's revisit our mini conversation, nuestra conversación pequeña, line by line, so you can understand everything we said, Spanglish friends. Entonces, the first thing I asked Em was, hola Em, hello Em, and I said, ¿Qué hora es? What time is it? You can also ask instead, if I didn't know her, ¿me puede decir la hora? To be very formal.
And I replied with the time. Son las 8:30. Can you think of what time this is? That's right. It is 8:30. 8:30. Media means half past. Then I asked Val in return, Val, ¿a qué hora te levantas normalmente? I asked Val, at what time do you normally get up? A qué hora means at what time, literally translated in English is at what hour do you get up normally?
Then I responded and I said, normalmente me levanto a las 7 en punto. Breaking the sentence down, I said, normalmente, me levanto, I get up, a las 7 en punto, at 7 o'clock. Then I said, luego desayuno a las 7:15. Luego, later, desayuno, I have breakfast, a las 7:15, a 7:15. Cuarto means quarter, and the joint word y makes it like a 7:15, a las 7:15.
Now, quick question, Val. I'm confused because you taught us earlier that son las is to be used for times other than 1 o'clock. But in this example, you said luego desayuno a las 7:15. So you're using a las now. Why did you do this in your response?
That's a great question, and we can't miss this explanation in this episode. A las is going to be used, friends, when describing at what time you do your activities. So going back to my answer, I said desayuno a las 7:15. This means that I have breakfast at a 7:15, all right? On the other hand, son las or es las are going to be used when you're telling the time that is right now. For example, if someone asks you, ¿qué hora es? What time is it? And it's 3 o'clock, you are going to answer, son las 3 en punto. This means 3 o'clock. So basically, in summary, a las is at this time, and son las or es la is it's this time right now in the clock, the time you can see.
Beautiful. I think we have clarified that, and our Spanglish friends, they've got it. Nice. And after this, we continued our conversation by talking about our breakfast routines. So I said, yo desayuno a las 7:30. What time is that, friends? 7:30. That's right. Then I said, y luego voy al trabajo a 7:15. Can you think of what that time is? 7:15. That's right. It's 7:45.
Maravilloso. Then I ask, ¿a qué hora terminas de trabajar? ¿A qué hora terminas de trabajar? Breaking the sentence down, I said, what time? ¿A qué hora do you finish? Terminas, tú terminas de trabajar. Finish work. You finish working.
Yes. And I said, termino, I finish work in this case. Termino a las 5 en punto. Do you remember what punto means? It means on the clock, on the dot, 5 on the dot, I shut my laptop and I finish work. Termino a las 5 en punto. Then I said what I do afterwards. Después, voy al gimnasio a las 6:30. We know what media means by now. It is 7:30. A las 6:30. I'm going to the gimnasio, to the gym, 6:30.
So organized. Amazing. I responded with perfecto, perfect. And I explained what I do normally. Yo voy al gimnasio a las 6:15. Yo voy al gimnasio means I go to the gym. And then I said the time, a las 6:15, a 6:15. And then I said, y ceno a las 7:30. Y ceno, and then I have dinner a 7:30, a las 7:30.
So, Spanglish friends, you've done it. You now know how to ask the time in Spanish, say the exact hour, use phrases like minutes past and minutes to, plus talk about your daily routine in Spanish.
Nice. Now it's time for our Spanglish Friends shout out of the week.
Yes, and our special shout out this week goes to Alex, who commented on episodio 27 on YouTube saying, thank you for the video. It's done in a fun and clear way.
How great. Muchísimas gracias, Alex, por apoyarnos. Thank you so much for supporting us. And amigos, want a shout out in an upcoming episode? Leave a comment participating in our reto of the day.
Yes, our challenge of the day. And today's challenge, write one sentence in the comments about your daily routine, including one of the time phrases we've taught you today.
Exactamente. Use this question to guide yourself, amigo. ¿A qué hora te levantas normalmente? What time do you usually get up?
You could answer, for example, like, me levanto a las 7 en punto. I wake up at 7 on the dot, o'clock. Post your answers in the comments right now to practice today's intervals of time that we've discussed. We'll be checking replies at the end of the week, so make sure you get your answers in quick.
We can't wait. Let's recap the 3 things we have learned today so it sticks in our minds. Grab a pen if you want to write it down. Número 1. How to ask the time in Spanish. You can say ¿qué hora es? In any situation. And in more formal context, you can also ask ¿me puede decir la hora, por favor? Could you tell me the time, please? Número 2. How to tell the exact hour. For 1 o'clock, it's singular. Es la una en punto. It's 1 o'clock. When saying the time now. And a la una en punto at 1 o'clock at that time. For all other hours, it's plural, amigos. So, if it's 2 o'clock, we would say son las 2 en punto. If it is 3 o'clock, we would say son las 3 en punto. Or a las 2 en punto, a las 3 en punto, when saying at those times. Last one, número 3. How to talk about intervals. Use y for minutes past. For example, son las 7:10. It's 7:10. Use para for minutes to. For example, son 10 para las 8. It's 10 to 8. For quarter past, say son las 6:15. It's a quarter past 6. And for quarter to, use son un cuarto para las 7. It's a quarter to 7. And for half past, use son las 5:30. It's a half past 5.
Yoo-hoo, friends! Now you can tell the time successfully in Espanol. Before we go, a quick spoiler alert for what's coming next. It's our 30th episode! Dios mío, I can't believe it, Val.
Honestly, that's crazy. Oh my gosh! 5 months in already, and our community is growing so quickly. It's awesome to see.
Yes, and we have something very special planned for you, friends, and you're just going to have to wait and see what it is.
And we are going to see you next time, literally. So, no more spoilers. Have a wonderful week. Esperamos que tengan una maravillosa semana.
Ciao, ciao. See you all soon.
Thank you for listening to Spanglish Friends. We are both so proud of the time you're investing to level up your Spanish listening and speaking skills.
If you've enjoyed today's episode, follow us and give the show a rating wherever you listen to podcasts. Or even better, tell a friend about the show. It's how we can help even more people on their Spanish learning journeys and continue to grow our awesome, supportive community.
Don't forget to check out our socials, including Instagram and TikTok at Spanglish_Friends for even more beginner Spanish fun.
Congratulations on taking another step today towards your Spanish learning goals. Ciao, Spanglish amigos. Until next time.
Hasta la próxima, amigos.